Hey everyone, welcome back. Today is just another update video. This time I'm going back to my 60 card Lightsworn deck. I've made quite a lot of changes this time around, and with the completed extra deck the way I kind of wanted it the first time. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this, and we'll get right to it. So in case you haven't noticed, this is going to be the old school JD build. So in fact, that's what we're going to start off with. So we're going to be running 3 copies of Judgment Dragon, or JD as I like to call him. As long as you have 4 more Lightsworn monsters of different names, you can special summon this card, and this is not once per turn. You can pay 1,000 life points, destroy all other cards on the field, and at the end phase, you have to send the top 4 cards of your deck to the graveyard. But it's really cool because he's pretty easy to summon out, and yeah, he's a pretty boss too. Because the fact that he board wipes except himself, that's where it gets broken. Because like if you have all 3 copies in your hand, you essentially get to OTK your opponent real quickly. Alright, next up we got 3 copies of Raiden, one of the most important cards of the deck. He's a tuner, and during the main phase you can send the top 2 cards of your deck to the grave, and if any of them were Lightsworn monsters, he gains 200 attack points. And at the end of the turn, you get to mill the top 2 cards of your deck. So really awesome guy, and he's searchable too. Next up we got 3 copies of Lumina, also searchable through Charge of the Light Brigade, I forgot to mention. But what's great about her is that once per turn, you can discard 1 card, target 1 level 4 or lower Lightsworn monster in your graveyard, and special summon it. And at the end of the turn, you have to mill the top 3 cards of your deck. So amazing card. I definitely like Lumina a lot. And of course, this guy's also fairly simple to bring out as long as you mill him from your, or send him from your deck to the graveyard. But it's Wolf. And what's also great about him is that he's a 21k beat stick, and he doesn't have to mill cards, so that's also really good. So if you mill him through the effect of Raiden or Lumina, you get to bring him out real easily. You could also do Foolish Burial as well, which brings him out. So yeah, Wolf, definitely run him at 3, considering that this is 60 card. Next up we got 3 copies of Felice. I used to run it at 2, but I decided to bump it up to 3, mainly because it's not hard. It doesn't break you out at all. So but yeah, she can only be special summoned if she's sent to the graveyard by an effect of a monster, or you can special summon her through a card effect, so she cannot be normal summoned. But you can tribute this card, target 1 monster your opponent controls, and destroy that target, then send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. And she's also a tuner too, so it's really easy to get some good synchro plays with her. We're still running 2 Lila, just because she can pop spells and traps when switching to defense mode, but she has to stay that way for at least, let's see if I recall, it's until the end of your next turn. So like once your next turn ends, then you can switch her back into attack mode. But overall, she's just there just to make it easier for me to summon JD a little bit faster. And of course, the last of our Lightsworns, it's 1 copy of Minerva. I decided to bump it down to 1 again, just because she's not as neat as I thought she would be anymore. So I was like, okay, yeah, Minerva just 1, it's fine. Alright, so moving on to the rest of our monsters, we got 2 Photon Thrasher, just because he's a free summon, as long as you control no monsters. Necrogarna, which has actually come in handy quite a bit. So like whenever I mill him, I just keep him in the graveyard until it's time for me to really banish it and negate an attack. So Necrogarna is still a good card. Running 2 Fairy Tale Snow. I would probably bump it up to 3 later on, but for now I just kind of want to stick to it at 2. Just because like I do too much banishment with this deck, and sometimes you need to be able to bring things back, which I do have a way, by the way. We also have Giant Rex, and by the way, Fairy Tale Snow is basically Book of Moon, and it's not once per turn either. You banish 7 cards, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I run Giant Rex with this deck, because he's a free summon if he's banished. But yeah, you banish 7 cards, summon her, and then flip 1 of your opponent's monsters face down, so it's really good. 1 Goblinberg, just because it's a good card, don't get me wrong. If I had more than 1, then I'd definitely run more than 1, but I honestly don't need it quite as much as I thought I was going to, so that's why I'm like keep it at 1 for right now. We got Shiranui Spirit Master, just because he can pop 1 face-up card your opponent controls if banished. We also have Necroface, which restores all my banished cards, and I would run it to 2 if I had a second one, but you know what, I think 1's actually kind of enough, because I can easily get it out with Gold Sarcophagus and then bring it back later on. But yeah, Necroface restores all banished cards to the original owner's decks and gains 100 attack points for everyone that was banished. And then for the last little card that we have is Glow Bulb, which is pretty good because it helps me get into really excellent synchro plays, and just like whenever I really need them to. So Glow Bulb really comes in handy at times. Alright, for the hand traps, and we run technically 8 hand traps. It's 3 Honest, just because, you know, almost every monster in this deck is light attribute, so it comes in handy. And I run this one because it can't be hit with Called by the Grave, but it's Battle Fader. And this one also can't be hit with Called by the Grave also, so it also comes in handy when needed. But Cypher Gamma, and of course you have to have Driver to make it work. But yeah, Battle Fader I thought was a pretty good choice because like no one ever expects it, and the fact that you get to end a whole battle phase with it, so it kind of buys you some time. And it banishes itself whenever it leaves the field, so if you still have Necroface out in the deck, you could easily restore it and use it again later on and just prolong the duel. Alright, so that's it for monsters. We're moving on to the spells and traps. We have Triple Solar Recharge, which is really excellent because, you know, you need draw power. You discard 1 Lightsworn monster, draw 2 cards, and then send the top 2 cards to your deck. 3 Charge of the Light Brigade because everything you need is searchable. Plus 2 Gold Sarcophagus, you know, that way you can send the Giant Rex, the Necroface, the Shiranui Spirit Master, anything like that will really help you out. So Gold Sarcophagus is really good. I thought this card was actually pretty good with Lightsworns because, you know, there's a couple cards you want to send to the graveyard, a couple spells and traps, I'm sorry. But Foolish Burial Goods, I usually send Metal Foes Fusion or Lightsworn Judgment, that way I can at least get my JD out to my hand as quickly as possible. And of course we got 1 Foolish Burial. We also have Rhoda, which searches out Raiden, and Photon Thrasher, so it's really good to get those cards as early as you can. 1 Dark Hole, just, you know, if you need a board wipe, it helps. Monster Reborn, of course. Soul Charge. And of course, last of our spells, Metal Foes Fusion. I used to run Upstart Goblin until someone suggested this instead. But if this card is in your graveyard, once per turn you could shuffle this card back to your deck, and you get to draw 1 card. And the fact that it keeps you from decking out, essentially, it's really good. So Metal Foes Fusion is definitely a must. And we only run 6 traps in total, so we got 2 Beckoning Light, just lets you pitch your entire hand and add any number of light monsters equal to the cards you had. We have a little Solemn Brigade here with just 1 Warning, 1 Judgment, 1 Jar of Avarice, which helps you replenish your deck a little bit too, like you shuffle back any 5 cards you want and draw 1 card, and of course 1 Judgment, just because, you know, if you pitch it with Foolish Burial Goods, or if it's pitched from your deck to the grave by a Lightsworn effect, like by the effect of your Lightsworn monsters, you can instantly add a free JD from your deck to your hand. So that's why I only run it at 1. Alright, so for the extra deck, we got quite a bit of a good one right here. Double Curious, just because, you know, like, you never know what could happen to the first one. We got 1 Decode Talker, 1 Trigate Wizard, Underclock Taker, and 1 Proxy. I won't get too much details with these, because since by now everyone should already know what these do. So that's why I'm only going to just kind of present them what I have. For the Xyz monsters, we got double Minerva, 1 Buzinchi Tsukiyomi, and this card's just there just because, you know, it helps with draw power too. Like, if you only have 1 card left in your hand, you could literally just detach 1 Xyz material, pitch it, and then draw 2 cards. So that's why I run it. Baguska, Utopia, and of course, you have to have Utopia the Lightning, so it's really great. And other cards that really come in handy are Michael, since he also helps you replenish your deck as well by shuffling back everything, and you can also replenish your light points with him around. Cyframe Lord Omega, and 1 Black Rose Dragon, just because, you know, extra nuke really helps out a lot too. Well, that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. There's no side deck really, only because I feel like there wasn't really much for me to change. But yeah, this deck is pretty consistent. It's pretty fast, but it's definitely going. It can go first or second. Honestly, I never had any issues doing one or the other. But yeah, you get a lot of combos off, and it's pretty explosive once you have everything you need. And also, once you really start getting it out there, like you hardly have to worry about disruptions because like it's really hard to like. Drone Lockbird doesn't hurt this deck. Ash Blossom can stun the deck, but it doesn't really do too much. So like really, the only hand traps you have to worry about are probably going to be cards like maybe the Ciphering Gammas or something. Like honestly, I think that's the only one that would really hurt me a little bit. Or even Infinite Permanence actually kind of hurts this deck a little bit too. But honestly, it's like as long as you have enough to work with, you should still be fine. So overall, like yeah, Lightsworn's still pretty good at 60 cards. You really don't need Grass Looks Greener. I don't think this deck is dead at all. So yeah, hopefully I'll catch you guys again next time around, and have a good one.